transforming lives as we love, serve, and remember who we are.
One heart, one mind,
one soul at a time.
Hello and welcome to the SLC Sunday Experience. I'm Paula Mandella and this is Soul Light Connection, and we want you to know you're in the right place at the right time. Right, Ann?
That's right, just where you are meant to be. And we want you to sing along with us because we know and you know your soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. In the right place, I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome. Yeah, your soul is welcome. Our soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. I'm getting the message. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. Put your hands together. My soul is welcome here. Tell them about it, Larry. My soul is welcome here. 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 My soul is welcome. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome
Good morning, and welcome to the Spiritual Life Center experience that we bring to you wherever you might be on the planet today. And wherever you are, it's good. And we're grateful for your presence as we remind one another we are all interconnected. We are all one in the Spirit. We're interconnected on that soul level. You know, we have people across the globe who view our services. So each week I acknowledge at least one place outside the United States where people tune into our program. And today I'd like to acknowledge our friends in Finland. Thank you for connecting with us, and know that you are a magnificent blessing and are blessed by the Spirit of the living God. At this time, we're going to take a few moments to simply commune with this presence, to embody it in our life and feel the presence of pure spirit. And we do so in prayer. We know that prayer is the language of spirit. So let's turn to that place now. Divine presence, we are never separate from you. And this presence that we call so many different names, the force, the God presence, the Atman presence, the Buddhic mind. closer than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. Whatever we call it, we're simply calling it forth as the activity of our consciousness, so that we become a walking embodiment of all the qualities of the Spirit of the living God. We make sure that they reflect our thoughts, our words, our speech, and our actions. And as we do, we can say that we are radiating every quality of God everywhere that we go. And we can say without a doubt that when you see me, you are seeing the same presence that sent me, for this presence and I and all of us are one. Oh, it feels good to realize that this is the truth of our being as we go forth, expressing it, speaking it, and simply being it. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. Well, we appreciate your presence here today. And we're reminded that the beingness of God is wherever we all are at any given moment. And we're grateful for that opportunity to be those vessels. You know, this morning, as always, we are fulfilling a mission of Spiritual Life Center. And our mission is that we transform lives as we love, serve, and remember. And we do so through the 5 basic principles that really undergird everything that we teach and believe in. God is absolute good and everywhere present. People are inherently good. Thoughts create our experiences. Prayer and meditation are how we connect with God. And we must take action. Well, we've been discussing that we're participating in the Season for Nonviolence. And it's a program that each year takes place between January 30th and April the 4th. And as a community, we join in with others in other communities around the world as we exemplify the principles of nonviolence. You know, this is an event that was inspired by the anniversaries of the death of Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr., and thus the dates of January 30th and April the 4th. And the primary purpose of the Season for Nonviolence is to create an awareness of nonviolent principles as well as practices to heal, to transform, to empower our lives and our community. And along the way, we demonstrate that every person can move the world in the direction of peace through their daily nonviolent choice and action. And so each week during this season of nonviolence, a person from Spiritual Life Center does a reading on a principle that supports the purpose of this event. And today our reading is from the one and only Russell Brown, who is part of our music team. Welcome, Russell.
Today, I share my commitment to peace. Today, I center myself within the peace-filled mind of God. I sit in the silence and let God express as the peace that fills my soul. In the silence, I am given the name of someone with whom I am divinely guided to share my commitment to peace. Perhaps it is someone whose life is in turmoil, someone that needs to be reminded that God's sweet peace is available to them even now. Perhaps it is some, like myself, that is committed to peace in our world, someone that needs to know that they are not alone in their desire to create peace. Whatever name you place in my heart and mind today, sweet presence, I will call them and share my commitment to peace. Holy One, use me this day as an instrument of your peace. With all the social, political, environmental, cultural, and last but not least, personal upheaval before us, sustaining a state of peace can be very challenging. The light of peace within doesn't ever go out. However, the shadows that darken the soul and cloud the mind may make it difficult finding your way through dark, troubled times. Let me rephrase that. Finding my way through dark, troubled times of turmoil, distress, all that non-peaceful stuff. What I remind myself to do is throw some love at it. Yes, throw some love at it. I appreciate the opportunity to remember who I am. I sit in the lap of an ever-loving, ever-forgiving, ever-present God. Then it's simple. Love everything, all the people, all living kind, and especially the earth, the planet, the stone we all live on. Throw some love at it. Peace will come. Joy will come. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Deborah Phillips, and here are the happenings at SLC. Discovering Spirit Within is taking a couple of weeks off, so look for a new episode on March 31st. You can find links to all of SLC's podcasts on our website. Sherry Rain is offering a class on prayer, and here she is to tell us more about it.
Hello, I'm Sherry Rain, the Prayer Chaplain Program Coordinator, here to share about our upcoming prayer class. Prayer is one of the most profound ways to connect with Spirit and discover who we truly are. More emphasis on prayer is also one of the things that comes up over and over again when we ask you what you want from our community. We heard you and are offering this class. Our prayers are an amplification of our inner desires, allowing us to discover what really inspires and motivates us. When we recognize this and partner it with God's desire for us, we are uplifted and open to live our most amazing lives possible. Prayer also brings us comfort and strength in times of troubles or doubt, offering wisdom and insight on how to navigate challenging times. Whether you are considering becoming a prayer chaplain or just want to explore prayer and deepen your connection with Spirit, please join us. Classes start April 6th. You can come together in community, seeing people in person, woohoo! Or join us online via Zoom. A great way to connect for those who live far away or just want to participate from the comfort of your own home. This is a new book this year, so even if you have taken the class before, you are welcome to attend again. The author, Alan Cohen, is a contributing author for Chicken Soup for the Soul. In his book, Handle with Prayer, we'll look at more ways to closely align with God's plan and step into the amazing blessings prayer has to offer for every situation in our lives. I hope to share this time with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry, for helping us strengthen our prayer lives. On Saturday, April 10th, Karen Drucker offers Clear Your Clutter, Change Your Life. In this Saturday Zoom workshop, Karen will guide you through a process with songs, discussion, laughter, and small group sharing about where you might be stuck with clutter in your physical, mental, and spiritual space. You will use the techniques on how to release it in a breakout session to actually clear part of your clutter. This workshop runs from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., and there will be the aforementioned clear clutter breaks and a lunch break. Register today for this experience in spiritual growth. If you are feeling called to serve on SLC's Board of Trustees, this is a reminder that you still have some time to learn more about being trustee. The job description, frequently asked questions, and the application are available on our website. Applications are due by noon on Friday, March 26th. Let's spend Easter morning together. Bring your families and meet your friends as we gather in person at SLC at 9 a.m. on April 4th to view a very special pre-recorded Easter Sunday experience with Reverend James, me, Soul Light Connection, and the SLC Choir. You're invited to stay and mingle afterwards for as long as you like. All COVID guidelines will be in place, including the necessity to register in advance so that we can plan for your attendance. Because of COVID guidelines, space is limited, so please register soon. And registration opens today at noon. We love to meet our newcomers, and while we cannot greet you in person, we want you to know that we are very happy that you're with us today as you walk your unique path. You can learn more about us by going to slcworld/connect. And when you fill out the online card, you can choose to receive our weekly message, find opportunities for connecting with our prayer chaplains and online small groups. You can also ask to be notified of greater ways to connect with us virtually as we expand our online community. And speaking of connecting, you can find details for all the happenings at SLC by simply going to our website, slcworld.org. Thank you for joining us today. We are honored to be with you in spirit.
Always and in all ways, love divine pouring over you. All you need is flowing through. Expect the best, accept the rest, opening to receive. Blessings on the truth of your knowing, blessings on your grace and your growing, blessings on your life, your love, your calm and peaceful mind. Blessings on the lessons now revealing, blessings on your health and on your healing, blessings on your service to our world and humankind. Always and in all ways, love divine pouring over you. All you need is flowing through. Expect the best, accept the rest, opening to receive. Love divine pouring over you. All you need is flowing through. Love divine pouring over you. All you need is flowing through. Love divine pouring over you. All you need is flowing through. Love divine pouring over you. All you need is flowing through. Love divine pouring over you. All you need is flowing through. Love divine pouring over you. All you need is flowing through. Love divine is taking care of you.
We believe there is tremendous power in the spoken word. So if it feels comfortable for you, please speak aloud our vision statement. Spiritual Life Center is a loving, vibrant family that welcomes home all people and accepts everyone, no exceptions, weaving ancient spiritual traditions with emerging wisdom. We cultivate a spiritual deepening with the divine, each other.
I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory, I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory, I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory of God, I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory of God, I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. I am in the love and the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me, in the love and the glory. In the love and the glory. I am as God created me, in the glory, in the love, in the glory, in the light, in the love, in the glory of God, I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory of God, I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory.
As we move into this time of meditation and quiet, settle into your chair. Let your hands rest gently on your lap and focus on your breathing. Feel your chest rise and fall. Notice that as you breathe, you feel lighter and lighter until you drift up into a light daydream. You're lying on soft green grass looking up at the sky, seeing shapes in the clouds. The one that looks like an elephant. That one over there looks like an umbrella. Oh, and that one over there looks just like an angel. And just as you name it, the angel cloud slowly descends, setting down on the grass a few feet away, and it resolves into a real angel. Another cloud descends and resolves into an angel. Then another comes, and another, until 7 angels form a semicircle in front of you, each one emitting its own special color. The red angel steps forward and says, "I am your angel of vitality and enthusiasm. This red pearl carries my frequency. Wear it with love." The angel slips the pearl onto a golden cord and hands it to the orange angel, who says, "I am your angel of creativity and playfulness. This orange pearl carries my frequency. Wear it with ease and grace." The angel slips the pearl onto the golden cord and hands it to the yellow angel. The yellow angel says, "I am your angel of clarity and wisdom. This pearl carries my frequency. Wear it, knowing truth." The angel slips the pearl onto the golden cord and hands it to the green angel, who says, "I am your angel of balance, health, and wealth. This green pearl carries my frequency. Wear it close to your heart." The angel slips the pearl onto the golden cord and hands it to the blue angel, who says, "I am your angel of spiritual gifts. This blue pearl carries my frequency. Wearing it brings out your highest abilities." The angel slips the pearl onto the golden cord and hands it to the indigo angel. The indigo angel says, "I am your angel of intuition and self-knowing. This indigo pearl carries my frequency. Wear it for guidance and support." The angel slips the pearl onto the golden cord and hands it to the violet angel, who says, "I am your angel of spiritual mastery. This violet pearl carries my frequency. The longer you wear it, the more your consciousness will expand." The angel slips the pearl onto the golden cord and ties the ends together. Together, the angels gather around, and together they slip the string of pearls over your head. They circle you, their auras moving around you in a dance of color. You are immersed in the divine rainbow, and every cell in your body is activated as you commune with and become attuned to your holy attributes. You revel in this heightened energy in the silence. As you take a deep breath, the rainbow of pearls gently melts into your body, becoming one with you. You feel them pulse through you as you begin to return to this time and this place, and as you receive this blessing. Oh, my beloved, you carry within you the frequencies of the divine. They are your inner gifts. As you attune to them, you will discover that you are an amazing channel for love and light in this world. Remember this, always.
grace each new day brings, and with every step you take, bless the progress that you make. The reason you live is there in every gift you give. Love your life, love your dreams. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things.
Amazing, amazing, amazing.
All the places you will go and all the people you will know. Don't worry when or where or how. You don't need to know that now. You're on the right track. No need to look ahead or back. Just enjoy what each day brings, 'cause you will do amazing things.
Amazing,
Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. You don't have to work it out. Just stay in the here and now. And let your mind rest for a little while. Sometimes deepest answers come when you're out there just having fun. So close your eyes and take a breath and smile. Amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing, amazing,
Locked. Okay. All right. This will be the talk, spiritual self-discovery, and I need it for 13%. All right. Once again, this is the talk, spiritual self-discovery. Thank you for that wonderful rendition of Amazing Things. I love that song. When I hear it sung so well as you all just did, I end up singing it myself throughout the week. Because it feels like it comes directly from the source. It comes directly from the force. It comes directly from God itself. Amazing things. You know, the energy of that song reminds me of a story from the ancient teachings in which it says, imagine if you took all the waters of the planet, and you took all the waters of the planet, the lakes, the oceans, the streams, you put them all together. And then you put an inner tube in the middle of the water, and a turtle's head would randomly turn up every 1,000 years. And according to the story, the odds of that turtle's head popping through that inner tube is greater than you and I having a human incarnation. That would be more likely than having a human incarnation. Because according to the ancients, there are infinite spiritual beings and only limited body temples. So your human incarnation, my human incarnation, is so precious and rare, the odds of having one may be trillions to one. So the way that I look at it, the Spirit of God so loved us, it gathered the greatest, the strongest, the most capable, and the most fearless spirits and said, oh, do I have a place for you to do amazing things. You know, for that to happen, we must engage in the ascension process, which is going to be my theme between now and Easter. And the intention of the ascension process is for us to recognize and demonstrate our oneness with this presence in which we spiritualize our body. We spiritualize our body of affairs called our life by committing our entire being to the presence of God until every aspect of us is lifted up, making it possible for us to do those amazing things. It is a journey. And this journey is about releasing the life energy and releasing the inner splendor and walking in that awareness and tuning in to being something we have never been before in order that you and I and all of us can do something that has never been done before. In other words, to do those amazing things. In order to be that something and to do that something, we must engage in a process of self-discovery. You know, when we practice self-discovery, we're expressing who and what we really are as children of God, as children of the Most High. And when we do, we overcome our false beliefs. We overcome the false notions about life. We overcome those self-imposed limitations that we have put upon ourselves. So our spiritual work is not just about being happy with who we are. Now, don't get me wrong. Happiness and joy is basic. It's intrinsic to our being. I think God wants us to be happy, to be in joy. You know, but nonetheless, even though we accept people exactly as they are, we still expect them to change, to grow, develop, and unfold while you're happy along the way. But here's the thing. We come to our spiritual work play to do our spiritual work play so that we can become something, become more, become something we've never been before, and we can do so much more than we've ever done before. We are here to be different. As it says in Romans, the 12th chapter, in the 2nd verse that we're so familiar with, we're here to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. Not to conform to the world at all, but to be transformed by renewing our mind and heart. So we may be asking, where in the heck do we start? I believe it starts by beginning to have the right definition of ourselves. This will provide the right map, so to speak, so that it'll guide us in the right way on our journey. And that is to become the full expression of what God is in this dimension, the three-dimensional world. And if we do not start out with the right perception of ourselves, we're defeated even before we begin. Because what we don't have in this New Thought, Ancient Wisdom teaching is the belief that we have to suffer. We don't have the belief that we have to sacrifice to please God, to atone for being born sinners. That is not the right perception of how God sees us. It is not the right map. You know, recently I was out of town taking some time off, visiting family. And I was in a part of of a town that I'd never been before, and I was told an address to go meet some folks, and I put the address in Google directions in my phone, and in order to get to a special store to meet up with them. And for some reason, I ended up in a destination that was a deserted lot. I mean, there was no one around, and, when a few people did come by, they looked to be, a little shaky, a little shady, and I realized I had put in the wrong address. And that reminds me, it doesn't matter how good the directions may be. If it's based on the wrong information, it's not going to get me or anywhere where we want to go. In the same way, without the right definition of ourselves, we will not fulfill our destiny that God has for us. Somewhere a long time ago, someone interpreted and misheard the word of God. They heard the word center as the word sinner. And that misguided theologian began to teach that we're all sinners in the eyes of God. But what was said is we're all divine centers in the mind of God. Understand, God does not make junk. God does not have a throwback in the bunch. We're all unique expressions of this presence. We need to catch that. Many of you may be familiar with a game that at least I know I played when I was in elementary school with the teacher. And what would happen that the teacher would whisper something in someone's ear at the very front of the class, and then they would have to whisper it in the person behind them, and it would go through the whole class. And by the end of the last person in the class to hear it, they would say something that was totally different than what was said at the beginning. Well, somebody did not hear that we were divine centers in the mind of God. They heard that we were sinners. And they've been passing that falsehood on for a long time. It's now in books. It's now in some people's sermons. It's now in, the way that some people act, and they are very intellectual about it. They say, we're all sinners, And they say it with such highfalutin possibility. And all they have done is created a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because the moment you accept that, you are cut off. You're separated in the mind of God, and we begin to act that way. We begin to carry ourselves that way. We begin to be open to those kinds of thoughts rolling through our awareness. Then it becomes that self-fulfilling prophecy of someone who is cut off from the presence and the power of God and their true identity. We want to be reminded we are a divine center in the mind of God with infinite possibilities of expressing the all good right here and right now. This is committing ourselves to the Lord, or what we call the great law of life, the law of our being. And there are some things we can do to practice and to activate that law in our life. And one of those things is to take heed of the words from Philippians, the 3rd chapter and the 13th verse, where it says, forgetting those things that are behind and reaching forth unto those things which are before. Among other things, we must not allow our past, our conversations about our past, to become our future experience. So many times we have conversations in our head about our past and our misconceptions about ourselves, or what has happened to us, what is meant to us, and all the particulars about all of the past and the ramifications of them, and the ways that we have been coping and defended ourselves because of what has happened sometime in the past. And what has a tendency to happen, the conversation, the story about our past becomes our events of our future experience. The other day, when my son had my car, I needed to get somewhere, so I called an Uber. And the driver was from the country of Macedonia, and he was telling me about what it would like to live up there, and I think it had a totalitarian rule, and there were some good things about it. So we had a very good conversation. But one of the things he was saying that he had a lot of people would come into his car and they were always complaining about something that happened in their past. And he was thinking to himself, if they had any idea how good they really had it, they would not complain at all. And I bring that up because primarily, we're often not allowing the now of God, the eternity of God to break through our life so that we can become new and different regardless of what has happened in the past. And allow the expression of the Spirit to take us over and stop that story. So we want to hear this statement. And we want this statement to really sink in. We don't want to believe everything that passes through our mind. We want that to sink in. There's an old metaphysical axiom that I'm sure you've seen from time to time. It's on bumper stickers, and we see it, and they put it in another way when they say, don't believe everything that you think. We're talking about words ringing in our head that we may have accepted as truth, but has nothing to do with the amazing being that you are, that we all are. Words like, what if I can't succeed at this? How come I'm not enough? Why can't I be happy? What if I'm not good enough? What if they reject me or reject my work? Do not believe everything that passes through your awareness. Everything that runs through your mind, because it simply may be an opinion. Those things may just be propaganda. They may be an outright lie. Don't believe it just because it's moving through your consciousness. That's why self-awareness is so important. Be aware of what's passing through your awareness, through your mind, because those thoughts are powerful. And we have to be able to discern whether it's real or fake beliefs. We have to discern whether it's an insight or propaganda, whether it's you and I regurgitating a past perception that's floating through, or whether it's a real bona fide revelation coming from the Spirit itself. And so we want to ask, does it carry love? Does it carry kindness? Does it carry spiritual growth and development and unfoldment? Does it carry generosity and love and the givingness of the heart? If the thoughts that you are having are not of God quality, if they're not amazing in their quality, fire them, release them, let them go, kick them to the curb. Because as we practice self-discovery, we realize every thought that we think is a seed pod for our future experience. And if we're rushing headlong into the future based upon our past, all that we're doing is becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy of what has already happened to, through, or as us. It might be a different make, it might be a different model, but it will be the same old stuff. Apostle Paul said we're here to die daily. I have a lot of things to dispute about Apostle Paul, but he had some good things to say as well. He said we have to die daily so that we're here to learn how to die daily, not physically die, but simply die to our old ideas. Here's the thing, all spiritual growth is about letting go of something. This is the work that we're about. It's about letting go, and continue to die daily to the past and the fantasy called the future so that the beingness of the Spirit can take us over. As a spiritual family, as a global family, we must become something we have never been before in order to do something we've never done before. And we have to do a lot of new things to transform our world. When we look at the world of appearances and all of the things that are going on or going down with the political divide, the pandemic, the conflicts and wars, and as we look around and see even wars still going on in many ways, not just the wars that we read about. We know that anytime we have a war on anything, it's just going to proliferate that which we are having a war on, whether it's a war on ignorance, whether it's a war on illiteracy, whether it's a war on cancel culture, whether it's a war on this belief or that belief. We must totally give up the concept of having a war on anything and begin to open ourselves up to an entirely different possibility that Spirit has in store for us. Otherwise, we end up reinforcing the very thing that we do not want. So as we contemplate our individual and global past, we want to fire many of those stories about that past that often set up our future in a way that we know is not our highest and best. You know, in this season for nonviolence, one of the reasons we have that is, you know, someone once said that, you know, whenever we have a conflict, it's going to end all wars. You know, they have this statement, you know, the war that ends all wars. The reality is no war can end all wars. There's only peace that ends all wars. Because the energy that we send out comes back eventually. That's not an opinion. It's the law, because the measure you give is the measure you get back. And the soul's journey is that we have to become something that we've never been before so that we can do and express something we've never had expressed before. You know, we heard Russell sharing the seed of a nonviolent reading earlier. And it was on the commitment to peace. And that statement reminds me of a gentleman by the name of Ariadne, and he's from Sri Lanka. And he was a strong believer in the Gandhian principles of nonviolence. And he received the Gandhi Peace Prize, I think, in the late 90s. And he demonstrated his commitment to peace and was a person that lived in Sri Lanka, and he would go to certain areas in the country, and he was assisted by stopping the civil wars that were going on there. And he would go forth with his nonviolent soldiers. And he would lead the way by being 30 paces ahead of everyone else. And he would bring a spirit of peace and of harmony. And they would go in, they would make the sides talk to each other and see each other's perspectives. We can use a lot of that in our world today. And he created community banks and co-ops and places that he would go. And oftentimes, Ariadne's life was threatened because in war, all kinds of black market things that would thrive, and he would try to bring peace, and not everybody liked that because they were benefiting from the wars. And there were often assassination attempts on him. And one time, Ariadne discovered one assassination attempt, and he even knew the man who was supposed to kill him the very next day. And so before he went to town, he went to the man's house. And he knocked on his door, and the man opened the door, and he was shocked to see him. He was shocked to see Ariadne standing right in front of him. And Ariadne said to him, "Dear sir, it's come to my attention that you have a job to do. I have a job to do. Your job is to kill me. My job is to love. And I want you to do your job now, because tomorrow if you do your job, then somebody else will probably get hurt. And I don't want that to happen. So you do what you have to do. I'm prepared to do what I have to do." But the man could not take Ariadne's life. He put his weapon in his holster and said to him, "If I was raised by a man like you, I would not have turned out to be the man I am today. I cannot do this." And then the man joined Ariadne's nonviolent soldiers regime. And I think the point is this: Ariadne did not succumb to believe that anything was more important than his willingness to love, his willingness to have compassion, his willingness to have kindness. He understood the journey of his soul was to release the inner splendor of divine love and compassion and kindness, and he never allowed the priority of why he was here to take a back seat to anything else. I think the message for us as we engage in spiritual self-discovery, we must spend undistractable attention to the presence of God in and as our life, whether it's in prayer work, whether it's our meditation work, whether it's in our affirmations, our studies, or simply helping others. As we pay such undistractable attention to our prayer life, we discover that our prayer becomes like a compass. And of course, anyone who's ever gone on a trip or been in the Scouts, I was a Boy Scout many years ago, and went out on these hikes in these woods, and we used a compass. And we know that regardless of how we may zig or zag on that trip, our compass always was pointing north, or we used the compass to get us to our destination. And along the way, we would take whatever action that was correct. All of our doing was proper because we're being pointed in that right direction. There's a statement I remind myself of from time to time that says, you see what you aim at. If you don't like what you see, take aim at a new target and manifest a better experience. Imagine if everyone redirected their energy from war implements to peace implements, from hate to love, from separation to oneness. How consciousness of the planet would shift. We would have a different focus of energy. We will have a different experience. This is engaging in spiritual self-discovery. It reveals to us the truth that energy flows where our attention goes. What are we aiming at? As you go on this journey of self-discovery, we turn our attention to our true identity as spiritual beings. And we transform our life. We transform our world in ways beyond our imagination. This is our commission. This is our charge. If we do that, we will shift what's wrong to what's possible. And imagine what would happen if we saw a news or looked at the internet and we used it for upliftment and healing and transformation, for real education. Imagine we not try to get rid of technology, but we try to spiritualize it. Imagine the consciousness of upliftment being the content of what we see online and on the television, if we're watching those anymore. Consider this. Everybody knows somebody who has been diagnosed with an incurable disease, perhaps. But through prayer, something happened. Everybody was listening or watching this now knows at least one person who has had this experience. And that person probably knows at least one other person who's had the same experience. So what if on the news you saw every day people who had so-called incurable diseases, but they kept on healing themselves? People with insurmountable obstacles, but through the gifts of the Spirit, they kept on going and they overcame these seeming obstacles because they expressed gifts of kindness and love and forgiveness, and that was taking place. If what you read or saw in the news, there was always a segment that said this. The headlines were, amazing things that happened today. What would happen? We would step into the awareness that all things are possible. And that happens when we begin to engage in that self-discovery, come from our right identity. And as we do, the cynic within us would die from lack of attention, and what we would see is the face of pure spirit. We can do this. Let's go forth and let it happen. Peace and blessings to you. Thank you for being part of our service today, in which we were reminded of the value of going through a process of self-discovery so we can be what we've never been before in order to do something we've never done before. Next Sunday is Palm Sunday, and my talk is entitled The Triumphant Appearance. And I'll look at the symbols of the Palm Sunday story and how they can serve as a guide in our individual transformation on this journey of life. I invite you to remember to join us for a virtual courtyard chat on Zoom at 10:15 Pacific Standard Time. The link to the spiritual courtyard is in the description. So come join us and we'll chat a little bit and see what's going on in your life and in our world. Right now, this is your opportunity to help Spiritual Life Center continue to provide these spiritual experiences, these opportunities for growth, not only for you, but for anyone else that tunes in. And not just on Sunday, but also our weekly podcasts, our prayer and meditation classes, as well as all the other transformational experiences that take place throughout the week. So I invite you to support Spiritual Life Center with your donation, with your gift, and to give what you can, because whatever you give makes a tremendous difference and is highly appreciated. You can give by texting SLC Love to 44321 or go to our website, slcworld.org, click the Donate tab, and give in other ways, including by mail, if that is your preference. And one more thing I'd like to share with you. If you find value in our services and programs that are online and want to help spread the word to others, please like, comment, or subscribe to our program. When you do, more and more people will have access to these transformational teachings, not only for themselves as individuals, but also to make a big difference on our planet together. And now, let us join in, either aloud or energetically, in affirming our offertory blessing. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God.
Heavenly body, flesh this time, born to love and born to shine. Heavenly spirit, flesh as me, born to love, born to be free, born to fly, born to feed, born to cry, born to heal, born to fly, born to feed, born to cry and born to heal. Heavenly body on the screen, what I desire in this scene is to play the part I've come here to play, and spread some love along the way. 'Cause I'm born to fly, I'm born to care, born to cry and born to share. I'm born to fly, born to care, born to cry and born to share. Soul searching, soul searching. I know it made the stars and moon above. It's deep within my soul and it really loves me, it really loves you. this time. We gotta love, we gotta shine. Heavenly spirit, flesh is we. Born to love, born to be free. Born to love, born to be free. Born to love, born to be free. Amen. 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 Soul searching. Soul searching. Soul searching. Soul searching. Soul searching. Soul searching. I'm searching my soul. Soul searching. Soul searching. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
And now, let us join together and say our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, I am, and all is well.